Well, tonight, an NBC 15 reality check. Residents in the Africatown community have been complaining for decades about mysterious illnesses ravaging families. And now, for the first time, researchers are releasing their findings.
NBC 15's Rachael Wilkerson has been investigating the area, talking to researchers and folks living in that area who say no one will listen to them.
Janetta Dozer has called Africatown home for 50 years, a community she believes has suffered in silence for years, claiming the old paper company that ran from 1929 to 2000 is to blame.
I grew up around International Paper Company, and every other house in this community is suffering with cancer, including myself.
Yorktown Missionary Baptist Church sits at the heart of this historic community. The cries for help from its congregation unanswered. The cries of grief as they buried family and friends unheard.
He told us stories about his first year in the pastorship of that fine historic church, that there were numbers of members of the same family that were dying from, various diseases, many of which had some cancer base in them.
In 2015, the NAACP stepped in, claiming the Africatown community was being disregarded, ignored, and outvoted by City of Mobile and regional leadership. It hired local company Beheth Research and Development Laboratories to conduct a study, analyzing the soil, trees, human blood, and more.
Long time, and our findings have been staggering.
In 2017, more than 1,000 Africatown area residents filed a class action lawsuit with an out-of-town law firm. The lawsuit alleged that during the paper-making process, harmful chemicals were created and released.
The paper company dumped pollution on us for years and years after years.
Stanley Mills' mother, father, and grandmother all died from cancer.
Everybody on my street, mother, parents died of cancer.
He blames the toxins found in the soil. He joined the lawsuit, which records show was settled in May of 2020. Research performed for the residents' lawyers did not find significant amounts of pollutants. Instead, the research found chemical levels in the soil were no different in Africatown than anywhere else. Even with that information, International Paper CEO told me he thought it was in the company's best interest to settle with the roughly 1,000 residents rather than go to trial. The International Paper Company denies allegations that it caused illness in the community.
So we have a problem on our hands.
Dr. Muhammad Alam Beheth doesn't buy that the area is safe.
It just doesn't make sense.
He says his company's research found 300 to 3,000 times the levels of chemicals deemed safe by the World Health Organization in the soil and sediments, and attributes it to deaths.
It's difficult to overcome it.
The company's senior vice president, Dr. Rachael Wilkerson, says the danger behind these toxins is they do not go away. They can enter the body through contaminated air, water, and food.
It endures and accumulates in the fat cells of the human body over a period of time. So the longer a person's exposed to these things and doesn't find any relief from that activity, given the fact there's no remediation of those efforts, it contributes to failing health, cancer clusters, and death.
The impact on the community is grave. You have so many deaths that has taken place.
For years, Africatown residents have expressed concerns over several family and friends dying from cancer.
I got cancer in the lung, never smoked, never worked around chemicals, so where does it come from? And I think something should be done about it.
20 years later, it's a problem that still plagues the community today.
Somebody help us.
That was Rachael Wilkerson reporting. The health department says it is unaware of clusters of cancer in the Africatown community. In case you are wondering, the settlements we're told ranges from $250 to $5,000. Tuesday night, we're going to take you back to Africatown, where millions of your tax dollars are going to build a welcome center. We're raising questions. Is it really safe?
Rebuilding Africatown. The city of Mobile is one step closer to groundbreaking on a new welcome center designed to showcase the community's history.
Specifically, Africatown wants to bring attention to the Clotilda, the last slave ship to arrive in the U.S. It's an ugly part of our area's history, but also one no one should forget.
Tonight we are investigating whether this push to bring visitors to Africatown is really a good idea, considering recent revelations the soil, according to researchers, is tainted with dangerous chemicals. We're asking the city, is it really safe to move forward with the project?
NBC 15's Rachael Wilkerson is investigating for us. Rachel?
Kim and Greg, there is excitement within the community that Africatown will finally be highlighted like it should. Now we're asking, is there a risk of being highlighted for the wrong reasons?
I see a lot of progress over here.
Africatown, the town built on resilience and strength, fighting back the demons which haunted the area once populated with mistreated slaves smuggled into Mobile. It's a community whose ancestors have worked hard to create a new chapter, a new vision. It's an area Daphne Gilchrist Fryson has called home since 1995.
It has been neglected for a long time, and also with Mayor Simpson and everything coming in, I want them to help the people in the community.
The discovery of the Clotilda 2 years ago put Africatown back on the map, re-energized the community, and brought hope for residents like Gilchrist Fryson.
I think it's great.
Mobile Mayor Sandy Stimpson wants to put a spotlight on Africatown.
It's an opportunity for the city of Mobile and the community, the Africatown community, to tell the story of the last slave ship that came, of the descendants, of the resiliency that occurred, that has occurred over the last century and a half.
In 2014, before the discovery of the sunken Clotilda, Mayor Stimpson and the city began a study on Africatown. To make sure the goals of the future weren't disturbing the relics of the past, Stimpson says the city recently hired South Alabama to work with Vanderbilt on a cultural research study, which will use ground-penetrating radar.
There have been thoughts that maybe in the past that people had been buried there, or that maybe it wasn't suitable for a welcome center.
3 years later, another study. This one conducted by the University of South Alabama base Beheth Scientific Research Institute revealed another issue. The soil in the community the research found is a hazard to people's health. Toxicity levels were 300 to 3,000 times the amount deemed safe by the World Health Organization.
So we have a problem on our hands.
The soil, according to the research, is tainted with chemicals from the now closed international paper,
TCDF and TCDD.
NBC 15 first brought this study to light last week after a lawsuit was filed and settlement was reached last year between the paper company and roughly 1,000 residents, many of who claim the toxic chemicals caused health problems, even led to deaths. Though it's settled, International Paper tells us it denies the allegations that it caused the illnesses, but felt it was in its best interest to settle. And with the city now poised to build a welcome center attracting thousands of visitors,
What is the city doing to make sure that it's safe?
Well, that's just what I've said. I mean, I'm not familiar with the study that you're referring to, but by doing what we're doing with South Alabama and Vanderbilt, we feel like that we can challenge or certainly put to bed any of those accusations that have been made.
the city was recently awarded a nearly $300,000 Brownsfield grant by the Environmental Protection Agency. That money will be spent over a 3-year period on yet another study, this one to re-examine potential hazardous properties. Mayor Stimpson says 7 sites in Africatown, including the Welcome Center area, will be assessed.
It too will identify any challenges or problems that may have occurred, on those 7 specific sites.
Are there any concerns with the old, International Paper Company or any of the old mills that were out there that, the city might find something that's problematic?
So I think that those are things that obviously there's general concern for those types of facilities. If you identify chemicals that are in the soil, you end up ultimately having to clean it up through some kind of grants.
Mayor Stimpson assures the community the city is taking the proper precautions to make Africatown safe.
The city is very interested. I mean, it's one of our top priorities is try to support the community and getting the outcome that is the result of a collaborative effort so that we can be proud of Africatown, be proud of the story that's going to be told. It's going to take all of us working together to make it happen. The city, the county, the community.
So what's next for the project? The mayor says he will wait on the Brownsfield studies to be complete before taking the next step on the Welcome Center. Greg?